Okay, let's review 5.1, nth roots and rational exponents. Okay, rational exponents, remember rational exponents just means your exponent could be a fraction, could also be a whole number. So if you have something where it's x to the m over n, remember the n indicates the type of root, so this is the nth root of x, and then it's raised to the m power, and it doesn't matter whether you put the exponent in the radical or out of the radical. Okay, so we're going to rewrite these expressions in radical form, and then we're going to evaluate it. Okay, so it says 64 to the 1/6. Since the denominator is the 6, this is the 6th root of 64. Since it's being raised to the first power, you can put the 1 here, but since raising something to the first power doesn't change it, you don't have to put the 1 there. Okay, so the 6th root of 64, remember that's something to the 6 that equals 64. It is 2. So the answer is 2. If you make it 2 to the first power, that's fine. When I do 2 to the first power, I still get 2, so it doesn't change our answer. Let's try the next one. It's 8 to the 1/3. The denominator tells you the root. So this is the 3rd root of 8. And again, it is being raised to the first power, but the 1 doesn't do anything. So we often leave it off. Okay, 3rd root of 8 is 2 because 2 to the 3rd power is 8. Yeah, I'm going to keep going. Feel free to work ahead once you remember it all. Denominators of the exponent is 2, so this is the square root of 25. You don't have to put a 2 for the square root, but you can. And then it's being raised to the 3rd power. The square root of 25 is 5 to the 3rd power. 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. Okay, let's keep going. D, 81 to the 3/4. Okay, so the denominator of the exponent is 4, so this is the 4th root of 81. And then we're raising it to the 3rd power. And we normally root it first just because it makes it an easier number. 4th root of 81 is 3 to the 3rd power. I put parentheses. You only need parentheses when it's a negative value, but I do it all the time so that I remember. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 again is 27. Okay, let's try this one. Negative 243 to the 1/5. Since the denominator is 5, this is the 5th root of negative 243. We're raising it to the first power, so you don't have to put raising it to the 1, but you can if it's helpful to you. Okay, 5th root of negative 243. Yes, feel free to use your calculator if you cannot do it in your head. It is 3, or negative 3, I should say. And it's okay to do the 5th root of negatives, because negative times negative times negative times negative times negative is negative. Okay, let's do negative 64. What kind of root? 3rd root. So the 3rd root of negative 64. And then I'm going to raise it to the 4th power. The 3rd root of negative 64 is negative 4. Okay, in this case, I do need to put it in parentheses because I'm raising the 4 and the negative to the 4th power, and it will change your answer sometimes. Okay, now if I do negative 4 to the 4th, that's negative 4 times negative 4, which is 16. Negative 4, negative 4, what's 16 times 16? Okay, I consulted my calculator. It's 256. Okay, now we're just going to add some negative exponents. Okay, and feel free to work ahead because this is review. It's just we did it before break. So this is the 3rd root of 8, raising it to the negative 2. 3rd root of 8 is 2. I'm raising it to this negative 2 power, and you can put parentheses on the 2, but you don't have to unless it's negative. Okay, negative exponents. What do? They make fractions. So this is 1 over 2 to the 2nd, which is really 1 over 4. Negative exponents make fractions. Okay, let's try the next one. What is that? 4th root of 16. And I'm going to raise it to the negative 7th power. 4th root of 16 is 2. And I'm raising it to the negative 7th. The negative makes it a fraction, 1 over 2 to the 7th. And then let's see what 2 to the 7th is. Feel free to use your calculator. I'm going to I got 128. So I got 1 over 128. And if you did the operations in a different order, as long as you show your steps, you're fine. Some people like to do the negative first so they can take care of it right away. Let's do one more. Okay, square root of 25 raised to the negative 1. Now, if it's just a 1, I'm not going to write it, but negative 1 is going to change it to a fraction, so I am going to include it. Okay, so what does that make? That makes it a fraction. 1 over 5 to the first power. And some of you in your head automatically know that 5 to the first power is going to stay 5. But it's a negative exponent, so it's going to make it a fraction. Okay, that was rational exponents. Now let's review solving with nth roots. Okay, solving using nth roots. Okay, if we're solving an equation, u to the n equals a, we take the nth root of both sides. Okay, and then the thing to keep in mind is when n is even, be sure to consider that you might get both a positive and a negative root of a. That's when we start using the plus minus. Okay, so this is x to the third is 125. Since I'm doing x to the third, I'm going to take the third root of both sides. And make sure your 3 is in the little corner because it is the index. Okay, since this is an odd root, I should only get one answer. The third root of 125 is 5. Okay, 4x to the fifth is 128. Yeah, we got to get rid of the 4 first. So I get x to the fifth equals 32. Okay, since I have something to the fifth, let's do a fifth root on both sides. X equals, the fifth root of 32 is 2. Let's keep going. C, x to the fourth plus 9 is 90. Let's move the 9 over. Okay, since it's x to the fourth, I'm going to fourth root both sides. Okay, since it's an even root, I do need to consider that it could be positive and negative. The fourth root of 81 is 3. Okay, but if I plug negative 3 to the fourth in, I still get positive 81. So I'm going to get positive and negative 3. And it's not because it's a fourth root, it's because it's x to the fourth. When I plug a negative in, I do it to the fourth power, it turns it positive. Okay, I still need to divide by 5, so let's divide by 5. Okay, x to the sixth equals 7, so let's do the sixth root. X equals, since it's even, I should consider positive and negative. The sixth root of 7 is some kind of decimal, but it's not going to come out to be rational. So I'm going to get positive negative sixth root of 7. And it's okay to leave it with a radical if it does not turn into a rational number. Okay, a couple more. Let's look at these. Remember, this is the quantity of x minus 5 to the sixth equals 64. So I'm still going to do a sixth root now, so I can get the parentheses to escape. Okay, x minus 5. The sixth root of 64 is 2, but since it is a sixth power, it could also be negative 2, positive negative 2. Okay, let me go ahead and add the 5 over. I am going to get 2 answers too. So 2 plus 5 is 7, negative 2 plus 5 is 3. Let's look back and see why we got 2 answers. If I plug 7 in, 7 minus 5 is 2. 2 to the 6th is 64. If I plug 3 in, 3 minus 5 is negative 2. If I do negative 2 to the 6th, I also get 64. So 2 answers. Okay, x plus 4 to the 4th. Let's do the fourth root. Okay, since it was a fourth power, I could get a positive and a negative answer. The fourth root of 30, I have no idea what that is. And it doesn't simplify too much because 3, 10, 5, 2. There's nothing good I can do. I'm still going to minus the 4. But since they're not like terms, I'm going to put my answer as negative 4 plus and minus the fourth root of 30. This is two answers. In my calculator, if I did negative 4 plus the fourth root of 30, I would get one answer. Negative 4 minus the fourth root of 30 would give me a second answer, but it would be an approximation, so this is actually the best answer. Okay, two more. Okay, let's do third root because it's x plus 8 to the third. Okay, x plus 8 equals third root of 125 is 5. Okay, I don't put negative 5 because if I do negative 5 to the third, I would actually get negative 25. So it just doesn't work. Minus the 8, minus the 8. X equals negative 3. Okay, if I plug it back in, it does work. If I do negative 3 plus 8, I get 5. 5 to the third is 125. Okay, last one. What is this? Fifth root? Let's fifth root it. Okay, x minus 1 is the fifth root of negative 14. Only one answer. I don't know what it is, but it's perfectly fine to do an odd root on a negative value. So I'm going to leave that alone, but I am going to add the 1 over. So I get one answer. It's going to be 1 plus the fifth root of negative 14. And that's the exact answer.